Hey traders, welcome back. This is my market outlook on index futures for the week of September 21st. Now, before we get started, I just like to apologize that I wasn't able to be with you guys last weekend, but I'm going to make it up to you by doing a top-down analysis with the monthly, weekly, and daily charts for both the indices, and I'll even throwing a bonus at the end of the video, so make sure you watch till the very end. So here's the monthly chart for ES. Note that we are on the December contract. The September contract has expired, and going forward, going to be using the December contract. Now on the monthly chart, we are at all-time highs. So when you're at all-time highs, it's best to just maintain a bullish bias. You never really know how high they're going to push the market. So you just want to have a bullish bias to go along with it until we start seeing actual signs of a reversal. Now, if we do have signs of a reversal, what I'm looking at is this monthly fair value gap, right? This is the most recent one. And if we do have a reversal, I would expect price to come and target this monthly fair value gap. However, if you take a look at both of these candles here, the one for July and August, there's a lot of up and down movement, right? Price going up, down, closed here, and then next month went down and up. So this I'm considering as a balanced price range. It's going to be pretty tough for price to get through this to go down into the monthly fair value gap. So this is also going to be something I want to note on the monthly chart as we go down to the weekly and the daily. All right, so the weekly for ES, you can see this is that balanced price range on the monthly chart, and on the weekly, there's a lot of candles. You can see a slight consolidation here, no inefficiencies that you can see. So the last fair value gap we did have up here on the weekly chart. So we could expect price to pull back into this fair value gap and have price go even higher from there. So if we're going to expect a reversal, at the minimum, we need to close below this fair value gap. All right, so this is the daily chart for ES, and you can see that this is the weekly fair value gap we talked about. Price could come back down here, use this weekly fair value gap, take out the sell side liquidity below the swing low, and then propel price even higher. So in addition to that, on the daily, we do have some additional levels to keep an eye out on. We do have a daily fair value gap. This was used once last week, but this could be reclaimed. So meaning price can come back and reuse this daily fair value gap and not actually come down to the weekly. In addition, we do have this long wick to the downside here. So we'll want to take a look at 50% of this. You can even grade it, have 25% and 75%, but I'm just going to stick with just the 50%. Price could come down here, not reclaim the daily fair value gap, and just use this to push price even higher. Other than that, I'm not really seeing any other inefficiencies here. So that would be the bullish idea, using one of these levels as support. On the flip side, if we're starting to see signs of reversal, I said at the minimum, I want to see a closure on the weekly chart below this weekly fair value gap. And if you look down here, we do have equal lows here. So I would mark sell side liquidity below these equal lows. This will be my target if we do start having a reversal to the downside. But in order for that to happen, I will want to see displacement below this low. Let me go ahead and just draw out. So like this is kind of what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I want to see displacement go down below this low, closure below this weekly fair value gap. So that's right here. And here I want to see a bearish fair value gap. And then when I want to see is price pull back into the bearish fair value gap and give me another displacement. That's going to give me the signal like, okay, I think we're ready for a reversal, aiming for these relative equal lows here. And where I will enter is I want to see another pullback into, let's say, a fair value gap somewhere in here. That's where I would want to look to enter into shorts and then try and ride it down for these relative equal lows. So this part right here is just going to be the confirmation. And then this leg right here, this is going to be the actual entry. But remember, we are at all-time highs. It is better to have a bullish bias and not worry about this bearish idea until we actually see signs, right? We want to wait for the confirmation and then we can go short looking for these equal lows. If this doesn't happen, if we just come back down here and then let's say we start rallying up and is going above this high, you want to be bullish. We are at all-time highs after all. All right, time to move on to Nasdaq. This is the monthly chart. It's not quite as interesting as ES. We do have a monthly fair value gap. This would be the, again, if we have a reversal to the downside, this will be my first target that I will aim for if I'm going to go for any shorts. But since we're at all-time highs, I'm not going to go into shorts unless we actually get some bearish signals. You can see that we do have a lot of up and down movement, but I'm not really going to be marking in a balanced price range here. But we'll go down to the weekly and I'll show you. And on the weekly, it looks a little bit more clear. Like you can see the consolidation here. So I'm just going to mark a balanced price range with this box right here. No fair value gaps within here. And then we start leaving this consolidation area with an inefficiencies here. So price could come back down into this weekly fair value gap, use it to propel price even higher. So if we are going to get a reversal, of course, the minimum requirement would be a closure below this weekly fair value gap. This order block here, it would be nice if we can go below this order block as well. And then we can aim for like this monthly fair value gap. But like I said, we're at all-time highs. Don't be bearish until we actually get confirmation. You want to maintain a bullish bias. All right, so these are the daily levels that I want to keep an eye out on for for Nasdaq. Obviously, the weekly fair value gap, price can just pretty much ignore all these levels, come back down here for the weekly fair value gap, and then bounce price even higher. But if we stop short, we do have this daily wick. I want to mark out 50% of this. We have a daily fair value gap. This could be reused. Now, I also want to keep an eye on this wick right here, 50% of this upper wick, because this is the most recent fair value gap. We didn't see this on ES, but we have it on Nasdaq, meaning Nasdaq's probably going to be the stronger of the two. So if we do get a little bit of a pullback into this fair value gap, this could be used to, move price for a new all-time high. And specifically, I want to look at 50% of this week since it overlaps into this fair value gap. And this will be in a discount level as well, like the lower 50% of this daily fair value gap. So keep an eye on these levels here. And my bet is that this will probably be the higher probability of pushing price even higher. But make sure you go down to the lower time frame to have confirmation. All right, so here's a little bonus for you guys that stuck around. This is the dollar index on the daily chart. Now, we haven't seen the dollar index in quite a while, but it's important to note because dollar index is usually having a inverse relation with the indices. So if the dollar index goes down, indices tend to go up, and the opposite is true. So if dollar index goes up, indices tend to go down. This is not going to be 100%, one-to-one correlation, right? There have been times where dollar goes down and the indices go down, but in general, that is the classical view. And what do we see that the dollar index has done in the past here? So we have a lot of consolidation here, but then it starts leaving the consolidation to the downside. We've taken out sell side liquidity below this low and this low quite quickly, right? In a couple of days, we've taken that out. Now we have 1, 2, 3 up days, and it's important to note that this closure right here, right, we closed right here at the top of this body, which is above all of this down move. So this could be a little indication that in the short term, the dollar index may be reversing, it may be going up, and I'm marking out the buy side liquidity above here, right? This is going to be above the consolidation area. So if we're looking for dollar index to rally up for the buy side liquidity here, also, if you look left, we do have a fair value gap, and this blue line is a weekly 50% of the upper wick on the weekly candle. So this could also be a target as well. Basically, my idea is that we could be going up on the dollar index, and since it has an inverse relationship with the indices, we've outlined some bearish ideas, right? We still want to wait for confirmation, but this is another indication that we may be in for a short-term reversal on the indices. All right, guys, thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. I hope you were able to take away some insights. You can help me out by giving this video a like and subscribing, and also sharing it with your friends and fellow traders. But until next time, safe trading.